What's up, guys, and welcome to Bitcast, episode 129 for the month of June 2025. I'm your host, Jake Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host and good friend, Landry Smith.
Dude, what's up, man? Good to see you. Long time no see.
I know, man. We've been a little busy, haven't we?
Yeah, for real, man. Life gets in the way.
Well, it doesn't get in the way, you know. I guess just, what does that saying even mean? Life gets in the way.
I don't know. It's a good point. You gotta live your life. You can't get out of the way of it.
Another broad statement. Yeah, I mean, like we recorded in March, and I think we had planned to record again like 2 months later, and then I think we were like right on the cusp of the Switch 2 coming out, and it was just like, well, let's just ride this bad boy out and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, there was such a lull in the gaming space, I feel like.
There was.
And a lot of the rhetoric around the Nintendo Switch 2 before it came out was really boring to me, and I think you as well. So we just kind of waited for a right moment.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
Here we are. I mean, a lot's happened. I think they even had like Summer Games Fest. Obviously, the Switch 2. We just had a DK Bonanza Direct today.
Dude, it was so freaking awesome.
All kinds of stuff has happened. So yeah, we're talking about that. If you're tuning in, we'll be talking about a little bit of our thoughts on Mario Kart World, and maybe like the Switch 2 kind of tossed in there if there's anything new. If you haven't yet, listen to our friend Mark's podcast, Quick Play podcast, on any service you want out there. Go check it out. We all talk about our first kind of impressions of the Switch 2 and our time playing Mario Kart World while playing Mario Kart World on the podcast. So that was pretty fun.
Double whammy.
That was fun, but it was like hard to like give thoughtful answers when I was locked in trying to make sure I didn't lose.
I could tell your competitive switch was on a couple times where you just were like, you were in the zone. Like I was like, I haven't heard from Jake in a while.
Jake's gotten really quiet all of a sudden.
Oh, he's really far in first place.
No, dude, Billy was wrecking us. Billy was really good.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, we got to team up against Billy. If you're listening, Billy, watch out.
We're coming for you.
We're coming for you, brother. But yeah, I'm really excited. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And at the very top, Landry has a cool segment that he's going to kind of open us up on about nostalgia. So we'll get to go into that shortly. And at the very end, we have a new segment called Skill Tree Trivia. It's a breakaway from Name That Game music, which I still love that game. We might bring it back just periodically. Yeah. But this is a fun little change up for Landry and I.
Dude, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, but Kind of Funny Games did Name That Game music on like one episode. It was basically the exact same game structure that we did.
When did they
just
do
did it? They did it for one day, like over Christmas break. I was like, man, these are like almost exactly the rules that we've been playing with.
It's a good one. I mean, you have to kind of give people something to work with too. Like I think when we started out, we weren't giving each other hints, and it was really hard. We were like,
yeah.
Hey, what's this from? I don't know. You didn't get it. Okay, no points for you. All right. Well, how would I have guessed? Donkey Kong Country 3.
I mean,
there's no way to know.
Because I have that music embedded in my veins. That's why I know that automatically. I said that in my sleep.
You laugh that off. You're like, well, okay, come on, Jake, come on. Well, yeah. So I'm excited. We have a lot to talk about, and if you are listening, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. If you like the show, go ahead and leave a review on whatever podcast service you're listening on. If you're driving, don't do that. That's a bad.
Yeah, wait.
That's a bad thing to do. We don't want you to endanger yourself or anyone else in your car. But do it when you get to work, okay? Or whatever you're doing. You know, or if you're at home doing the dishes, just stop what you're doing with your hands sopping wet, full of dish soap. Get on your phone, ruin your phone, but leave a review.
I mean, most of these phones are waterproof these days, right?
You're right. They're waterproof. So don't ruin your phone. Just do it. And then you'll have a cleaner phone maybe. Because there's soap on them. There you go.
2 birds, 1 stone.
2 birds. Dude, you are full of the isms today.
Yeah, lots of cliches.
Hey,
I'm ready to fire away with cliches. Yeah, that's right. Some of them I don't even know what they mean, but they're part of the lexicon, so we're just going to keep rolling with it.
What does lexicon mean? Just like adopt? It's like adopted in culture?
I don't know what that means either. It just...
You said it and it made sense.
It sounded right. Pretty sure that one fit in there.
Lexicon. The vocabulary of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
See?
I like it. All right, y'all. Well, let's jump into the first topic of the show, brought to you by Landry Smith.
that's right, Jake. I have been thinking a lot, which is a pretty regular thing and habit of mine, I think. But really, I've seen this a lot in a lot of the spaces that I'm at on YouTube and in podcasts, which is a lot of retro gaming stuff. And this word nostalgia is dominating kind of the narrative of retro gaming, I feel like, and almost used as the number one reason that people go back to older games.
Yes.
And I think a lot of discussions center around nostalgia for particular games. I don't think this is an inherently bad thing, but just focusing on this particular word, reducing games to a mere like sentimental kind of feeling or emotional response to games, rather than appreciating them for their design or the impact they have on the industry. I think that could be a bad way to view retro gaming as a whole. What do you think about the word nostalgia? I actually think in our group chat, this word has popped up a lot. And maybe around the time that I sent you kind of my thoughts on this word, I think you had actually used it like 2 days before. I don't know if I told you that, but that's like one of the things. It just got me thinking. It wasn't like in a bad way necessarily, but it was in a response to a number of things I'd seen on YouTube as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've talked about nostalgia a ton, even on this podcast, on Retro Dodo podcasts. We would talk about nostalgia all the time, because I think, in a sense, the two are like intrinsically connected. Especially if you are now an older gamer, you can't avoid the nostalgia you'll feel when you pick up or start playing a game that you played in your childhood. Much like anything else that you interacted with as a kid, you're like, oh man, that TV show. Yeah, that's so nostalgic. I love going back and watching Reading Rainbow. There is something about that past experience that makes it more impactful, maybe, for a lot of people. And for me in particular, I think like the emotive connection that I feel is fun. Like it's a fun connection that I can kind of immediately form with a game. But that's how I look at it mostly.
There's no question that I think games and nostalgia are intertwined with each other. It's kind of like, a lot of those movies that we grew up with in the 90s for people like me and you around our age. We're going to have a nostalgic connection to certain things. I just think that like when thinking about an entire medium as a whole, if that's the only reason you go back and revisit these things, like, I guess I think a lot about video games compared to movies or books, because those are like the other two things that I'm really into.
Right.
And there is a lot of people who, like, first of all, I think those two things are more respected as an art form in the broad, like, society. For
sure.
And you hear about people going back to watch and study things like Citizen Kane or The Third Man, or, even films that are like really hard to watch, like Intolerance and silent films and stuff like that. But they're not for nostalgia, right? Like it's because you can go back and learn from these directors who were working with limited resources and improve the medium in some way, and then also told a good story. And, the more times you watch those movies, the more you see in them and stuff. And I think video games offer the same thing, that you don't necessarily have to have an emotional connection to Super Mario World to go through and see how that's a brilliantly designed game.
Yeah.
Or Super Metroid or The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, those types of things. So I guess to me, nostalgia is kind of a limiting thing. Just by definition, it ties your personal history, your personal enjoyment to something, which kind of makes it feel almost like you had to have been there to truly understand that thing. And I think that's where, like, my agitation with this has been. It makes appreciating classic games for like a future generations difficult, I think. And art by nature is subjective. Almost all forms of art is, and most art is going to be short-lived. Like, 1,000 years from now, people probably are not
Right.
going to know Super Mario World, and that's totally understandable. But with video games as they are now, I still think that, like, moving nostalgia out of the way, like if you're a game designer today, I think there are lessons that you could learn from games on the NES, games on the Super Nintendo, even games in the arcade back in the 70s,
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up a great point with like the nostalgic elements of games being a limiting factor that in a way that like, let's say, for example, that like I have the nostalgic want to go back and play, Super Mario or something like that. I could go and play it, but if it's a crap game, my nostalgia only takes me so far. It like I can feel nostalgic and like oh, I remember playing this game. Like I remember playing freaking oh gosh, what is the Looney Tune mouse that says like arriba arriba? Like it runs really fast. I'm blanking right now.
Oh yeah,
Speedy
I know
Gonzalez.
who you're talking about. Yes.
Speedy Gonzalez. There was a Speedy Gonzalez Super Nintendo game that we rented from Blockbuster, and I have nostalgia for that game because I remember we rented it and we played it, and it weirdly had a root beer candy inside of the box that I just put in my mouth, didn't even question it, which is I think why I remember it.
That's wild.
That game I don't remember being very good. And so like I have nostalgia for that game, but like if I went back and tried to play it now, I might click it on and mess around for a few seconds, and that's as far as it would get me.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to appreciate it beyond just the emotive connection to that game. Whereas what you're arguing is like there are games like, yes, you can have nostalgia for something, but if there is a truly good game that like we need to actually learn from and actually look at more than just like, oh, I played this when I was a kid, but it's like, no, there's this really old game or really old, 80s, whatever, that was made. And there's so much that we can learn from this specifically. Like this is still a game that we should revisit, not just for nostalgia, but to actually like pick up things that may have been lost, I guess, in more modern game making. Is that kind of, am I on track?
100%. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Because I think that game design has changed drastically over the past 40 years of video game history. And most of it is better for the player.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it, though, in this era of, we just came off of the loot box era. Now we're in like, there's been these trends in gaming, like microtransactions, and mobile games have like, we were kind of talking about it with Mario Kart World the other day. You posted a question to our group chat, like, does the mini map in Mario or the map in Mario Kart not having a stat tracker, does that affect your enjoyment of the game? And I had an interesting response to that. I really had to think about it because it does, if I'm just being 100% honest, like it does kind of affect my fun level, but I'm still interacting with the game the exact same way. Like, what is that statistics jumping up? Like, how does that affect my gameplay any different? It doesn't. It's just a dopamine hit that I'm missing.
Yeah, we're all wired that way now. It's like I gotta check the box off. I gotta
absolutely.
be getting better.
Exactly. So is that not being there a big deal? I mean, maybe for some people, but at the same time, I think that when you go back to those old games, you're not going to have those those little dopamine hits. They hadn't figured out how to wire your brain to be, so addictive in so many ways. But there's still some really brilliant game design mechanics there that are worth mining and using as a resource. And I think that those games, the 5% of games that I'm talking about deserve objective appreciation from the industry at large, from tastemakers and influencers. And what I'd love to see, and there's a million top 100 video game lists around the internet. Most of them I disagree with greatly. Some of them are pretty good, but the problem is I feel like a lot of them are dominated by like 3D graphic gaming and beyond. And then you always have like you'll have a Super Mario World or a Super Mario Bros. 3 Link to the Past, Super Metroid,
Yep.
Chrono Trigger. Like you're like kind of 5 2D games
Yep.
that are on that list. And I just think that that's, you know, there's a whole wealth of history that the industry should not just forget and kind of move past.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But like, I think that the hard thing is like discerning what is, again, we're kind of like going back to your topic at the top of your argument, but like, it's hard to recommend things to people who are just entering into this ecosystem. Let's say, for example, we're going to try and send them back to the SNES. You would recommend a lot of the games that you just started out with first. It's like, hey, if you're going to start with like the essentials, here's Super Mario World, here's Chrono Trigger, here's some other games that you need to look at.
Yeah, I'm not saying the games I just mentioned are masterpieces in my. They deserve to be on those lists. I'm not saying necessarily, or I'm not arguing for any other one game that should be on those lists. I'm just simply saying that like the more archaic like frameworks for game design were not inherently bad, and we should be able to go back and look at those with purpose and see what they achieved for with the restrictions that were put in place on them. Like I played a game a couple years ago that I think is completely brilliant in DuckTales and on the NES. Great platformer. It has this really interesting loop that the only other game I've ever seen have this loop is Yoshi's Story on the N64. It's a much inferior game, but it's basically an arcade high score platformer that you can play in 25 minutes and you can get to where you can like kind of max out the score and pretty easily. But just going through and playing that, there's nothing else like it. And it's a game that's kind of lost to time. It is still talked about in very niche enthusiast circles, but there are a lot of games like that on the NES that I think deserve a lot more recognition. And there's games like Ninja Gaiden that, literally beat you down and weren't necessarily meant to be beat. I don't think they intended for people to beat those games, but it's still a great game. If you can only get to level 4 and you can play the heck out of it up to that point, like that's just kind of the way games were designed back then. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think like you mentioned the loot box era that we've just sort of maybe hopefully exited, but we probably are still very much in.
True.
I think like now more than ever trying to rid ourselves of just nostalgia and going to games to learn from them could be like a really cool thing that we try to do more of, both as gamers and like people that are actually working in the industry. I'm sure a lot of people that are in the industry are in it because of the games that you're talking about,
right?
Not just from a nostalgia standpoint, but like, I mean, that's how freaking Stardew Valley came to be. The guy was just like, yo, I loved these weird games that were not that popular called Harvest Moon. And I liked them for these elements. Like he liked the ability to like try and go talk to the villagers and farm. And he liked that game design more than he had nostalgia for Harvest Moon. He likes Harvest Moon, but he made a better game because he said, okay, there's genius here. I want to make it better. I want to make the game that I want to play that is like this. And I think that's how like all art kind of progresses. You build up a sort of a personality or you know what you like, what you don't like. And then you decide, hey, if I want to create something, I'm going to take these two elements of things that I like or the single element that I like from this game and make it for myself. And hopefully other people like it. It's like, I like this kind of music. I'm going to make that kind of music, but kind of with my own little thing in it that I like.
Right.
And hopefully people like
absolutely.
it. So
absolutely. Good. Well, I'm glad you kind of are with me on the issue of nostalgia. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that it's become too dominant and almost like our the go-to word in the
Yes.
industry to talk about retro games. And I think that
100%.
there's more to it than that. And that is all.
Yeah. When people, it is very one note a lot of the times. It's like, do you remember this one game? And it's like a really crappy, like B tier game from like PS2. And you're like, I mean, yeah, I remember it. Why are we talking about this? It's like, oh, the nostalgia of this one. And you're like, okay, yeah. It's not a good game though.
Right. Yeah. It's that, big problem here.
Why are we talking about this? Yeah, I love that, man. That's great. Good segment. So keep your nostalgia in check, okay? Keep it in check.
Nostalgia is a powerful drug.
Powerful. It's a hell of a drug. All right. Well, let's jump on over then to our next segment, talking about the DK Bonanza Direct. Landry, you are a big time Donkey Kong guy. I want to hear your thoughts first.
I'm so excited. I was excited for this game already just because it's Donkey Kong. You know, I just went back and played Donkey Kong 64 and 101%ed it.
Yeah, you're insane
on the
dude.
N64. Like, you know, no save states or anything.
You did it on the OG N64. You didn't do it on.
Yeah,
you didn't.
That game was really hard.
Is it on?
Yeah, I snapped y'all a
NSO?
picture of my CRT. No, it's not.
Oh,
but dude,
that's very impressive.
It was actually really fun though. I really enjoyed it. I think it gets way too much hate. Anyway, Bonanza.
I love it.
Wow, man, Bonanza's incredible. There's right off the bat, the Pauline kind of thing they held from us. That was cool.
Yeah. Did you see my text? I wish they had kind of, I don't know, like because I think here's my take on the Pauline thing. I don't think they wanted to reveal that until people got into the game, but then I think there was that leaked screenshot where you could see Pauline on Donkey Kong's shoulders or something like that, and Nintendo's like,
but it didn't necessarily look like Pauline. Like, I saw that screenshot and I was like, that can't be Pauline. She's a teenager.
There was some kind of artwork leaked, and Nintendo's like, well, okay, it's kind of already out there. And also, I think now that I'm thinking about, for showcasing what Donkey Kong can do in this game without having to like custom edit the footage to remove Pauline or like keep her like in the weird rock form that she's supposed to be, like maybe they were just like, just bag it, we'll just show Pauline.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they should have shown her because if this is just some other character, like it reminded me of, and I know Boo from Monsters Inc. is like 3 years old and this girl is supposed to be like 13. But just the facial animations on her as like Donkey Kong's doing something crazy, like, of sheer joy, it looked so freaking awesome. I was like, man, this game looks so fun. I was watching the Direct with my 5-year-old and he was freaking out about like everything. I love all the animals coming back. There's so many like slight callbacks to Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong 64, that kind of stuff. It sounds like a Donkey Kong game.
You can get
it doesn't
CDs
necessarily look like one.
and listen to the soundtracks.
Yeah, that looks sweet. You can like pop-ups. What is it, like a pop-up like spa that he's got with him?
Yeah, that's like your like save state. That's how you save the game
and
change costumes. Back to your point really quickly. It doesn't look like a Donkey Kong game. What did you mean by that?
It does not look like a Donkey Kong game to me. It just looks very super bright, super colorful. It looks like Mario Odyssey to me, like Mario Odyssey 2, really. If this is not the same team that made Mario Odyssey, I'm gonna that would be wild. It's got like the same fonts for a lot of their maps and stuff.
Even the item, the UI in the top left with like the 3 markers, the lives, and I was like, that looks like a Mario Odyssey UI.
Yes, 100%. But I guess just like the really like bright popping colors, like when I associate Donkey Kong Country with like a lot of jungle greens and caves and ruins and stuff like that.
Then you got Tropical Freeze. That game's pretty bright, I guess.
True. Yeah. I mean, that's like all of those scenes that I just mentioned. Just
super bright.
Yeah.
But not in 3D and not this animated, I guess.
True. Yeah. There's a lot of gold and purple and
yeah.
In this, and that just that has never really been a Donkey Kong thing before. So
Not really a color palette.
Cool. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I think it looks amazing, but
Yeah, it really is. It is breaking away from what has traditionally been known as a Donkey Kong game, which is, you know, a 2D side scroller where it's really hard in certain spots. And I don't know, man. I know that from the people that have previewed this game, like some of the people that are in the industry, they've all been really impressed by it. And you guys had all watched the direct first, so I waited a little bit, and I was like, some of the stuff's already been like you guys were already talking about it. So I was like, okay, I won't be as like blown away because I know what they're going to talk about. But then I watched it, and I was pretty blown away. It looks pretty good, man. It looks like a good time.
It does look. I mean, they had 15 minutes of new content to show us basically, and I wasn't bored during that. They just kept playing the hits, man. It looks pretty cool.
And I don't feel like I need to see more. Like, that's enough.
Agreed.
Like, I'm good. I know I'm gonna buy this. My question for you is: would you buy this digital or physical?
It's tough. You know, if it was any other phase in my life, like, well, I don't know. I'm probably digital most everything now, because I'm going to keep it no matter what. And just with little kids now, it's just not worth it to buy a physical copy that could get, they could take it out and then not put it back in the right spot, and then we're looking for it for 5 minutes or whatever it is, and that doesn't feel like a long time. But when you're trying to play video games with a 5-year-old, and I only really let him play like 15 minutes a night anyway. It's like we spent 5 minutes looking for the game because he can't put it up in the right spot. It's just really frustrating.
The night's ruined.
It's a lot easier if it's right there on the system. So
yes,
I will probably buy almost everything on Switch 2 digital, unless like the other day I was at McKay and I got Super Monkey Ball Rumble or whatever, I got it for really cheap. So when I find like physical games for super cheap, I buy them. But
yeah. I'm kind of in that same spot where I'm like, I still like physical games. I still like being able to like have someone else borrow them more easily, which I guess we can do that sort of now with the game share stuff. But like, yeah, just even being able to resell it eventually. I know Donkey Kong Bonanza is a game that I probably won't sell. So that's where I'm like, yeah, I'll probably just go digital for this one. But back to the game. I feel like, to your earlier point, it does. It looks like the storyline looks great with Pauline. I immediately got like Disney vibes. It looks like Moana, Frozen, maybe a little like Wreck-It Ralph kind of. Actually, Wreck-It Ralph's probably the most apt comparison.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with her personality and him smashing stuff.
At the very beginning of the trailer, I literally was thinking, man, this is like Disney vibes for some reason.
I'm okay with that.
I guess it was the musical intro.
Nintendo is the Disney of video games.
Immediately placed the singer, and I didn't fact check this. That's got to be the same singer from Jump Up Superstar, though, right? So there's the Pauline connection.
Hope
and
so.
This girl wants to be a singer growing up, so
I love it.
Nice little through line there.
It's a great storyline. They're trying to get to the surface. I don't know why she's in there in the first place. We're gonna figure that out, I guess. I don't know why.
Well, dude, they're gonna pop up in New Donk City.
Oh, Landry, you're so smart. Yeah, they got to. How the skill tree, that also totally shocked me. I was like, oh,
that is like anti-Nintendo. I couldn't believe they did it, and it was one of those things where I was like, love it, because seasoned gamer. I want to see that stuff. Mm-hmm. Also, like, is that like, I don't know. That's weird seeing a Nintendo game,
right? But I asked this question in our group chat. Is this the first like true platformer that has a skill tree?
Well, there's not a skill tree in Banjo-Kazooie, but you do unlock new abilities. I guess that would be the closest thing to it.
This is like, hey, you can already do this move, but now you can break the rocks faster, or you can do this more easily.
You can surf instead of turf surf.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Surf. Yeah, I loved all the puns. The elevators or the teleporter. Yeah. It's all eel based.
That makes it feel very Donkey Kong to me. Just lots of wordplay in the Donkey Kong games.
Yeah, the movesets looked really cool. I was really shocked with the instant transition from the 3 animal modes they showed off with the Kong mode, zebra, and bird. I was like, oh, like they're explaining that if you have coins, you can turn into that and then like in the middle of a platforming section, you can just switch from sprinting to flying to whatever else. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
There are going to be some hard challenges. I feel like it's going to be like Odyssey, where there's a lot of gimmies, a lot of easy stuff. Like same thing as Odyssey, where you can just walk up to a store and buy a banana. Like, okay, we're doing that again.
Oh yeah, there's going to be 1,000 bananas in this thing.
So many bananas. But I think that's like maybe the only one of the concerns that I might have is like, it's not a concern. I'm excited no matter what, but it could feel a bit like tedious in some way, or just like some of the moons might not be too inspired. Or not moons, sorry, bananas.
Yeah, people said that about Mario Odyssey. There were literally 2 out of the 999 that I got that I hated. And one of them was the jump rope challenge where you had to jump up like 100 times.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That was awful. And then the other one was the volleyball challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I really hate it. In both of those, you just had to like do like stupid button timing presses for up to 100 times. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm such an idiot that I will spend 4 hours straight doing after I've gotten every other moon in the game just to say I could 100% something. But like, I'm really, really bad at time challenges like that. Really bad at it. I just have to have like dumb luck and like hit this like rhythmic streak that, you know, it takes me a long time to get there.
But you go into like a focus state, you know, you're just so locked in.
I hit like a zen mode. First there's like rage, and then there's like a recovery mode, and then I finally hit
and
my
then
zen
depression
state.
and then zen state. Yeah. I think like that's my biggest concern, and it doesn't seem like it's super clear sometimes. Like you're going to have to come back to levels later and unlock things because you didn't have a power maybe or a power up to find that one thing. But they were showing like one of the skill trees is the scanner you have when you hit the ground. It'll kind of highlight a banana that's close to you. And I was like, I imagine that if you get that thing fully leveled up, that'll let you go back to previous levels and find everything else that was missing. But I was like, man, this is gonna be one of those ones where you're really scouring for those bananas.
Yeah, it looks super cool. The movement set looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really interested in like what it's gonna feel like to rip through just a rock formation, you know, or like go tunneling underground. That looks crazy.
You know they're gonna be using so much
HD
rumble.
Oh, yes.
So much HD rumble.
No question. I have a theory, and this is not backed up by anything the internet has said, like on any of the research I've ever done. I still think that the HD rumble in the Switch 1 controller somehow is affected to like the Joy-Con drift. And every time I played Super Mario Odyssey, I feel like I got Joy-Con drift afterwards because the rumble went so hard on that game.
It knocked some of the pins loose or something like that in there.
I think so, yeah.
It really was pretty aggressive. And they went to great lengths in Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, or whatever it's called, to let you know that they've padded that out a bit more, and there's less vibration that's impacting the rest of the Joy-Con.
Yeah, they definitely told us about that in a very boring way.
Multiple times. Make sure you ace this quiz. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this, man. I think this is going to be so good, and I'm glad that it's like already so soon to come out. Like, we're getting this in less than a month now at this point.
I almost think that Nintendo should have swapped it. Like, I much prefer getting a console launch with a single player game. Like, I have loved Mario Kart World, but I have literally, I don't think for one gaming session I've played Mario Kart World more than like an hour, maybe right at an hour, you know? It's just not the type of game you sink a lot of time into, and that's totally fine. But I also think that Mario Kart World would have reviewed higher if they had launched it, 3 months after launch, because I think people are holding the free roam. They're kind of reviewing Mario Kart World for what it's not rather than what it is. Like, if you take Mario Kart World at face value for what it is, it's an easy 9, maybe 10 out of 10. If you take it for what it's not, like, I mean, what's there to me is just like, I don't want much more, but also it's just the controls are so tight, the courses are great. But if you review it for what it's not, then you could definitely count a lot against it. So
yeah. Well, we're actually going to talk a little bit about Mario Kart World in our next segment, so we'll save a few more opinions for that segment. But anything else on Donkey Kong?
I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited about it. That's all I got.
Same. I'm looking forward to it. July 17th, is that right?
That's right.
Sounds right.
1 month.
Pumped. Can't wait. All right, let's jump on then over to our Game of the Month Club, which, Landry, you didn't even know this was the game we're playing. But, yeah, I just chose Mario Kart World. I think previously we had chosen Dragon Age the Veilguard. Do you have any takeaways on that? Did you ever get into it?
Dude, I'm going to be honest. That game was one of those games that I looked forward so little to playing it that I didn't play my PS5 for a month and a half. Because I felt guilty. Every time I turned it on, I was like,
I should be playing the Veilguard, but I don't want to play it.
But I don't want to. Like, I did not enjoy the first 2 hours I played in it, and I never went back. I'm just being honest. So
here's what I'll say.
There's nothing wrong with the game. It's just I feel like it's probably a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, and I just don't have time for that.
Yeah, it is a okay or good game. Like there is nothing wrong with it really. I think the combat actually surprised me. And how, like, I guess just streamlined it was, and like pretty mindless in certain parts where like you kind of just figure out your combos and you just do that over and over again. Like there's some cool tag team abilities, but in reality you don't have to do any of that. And yeah, so it was just kind of like a big adventure game. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah,
this is fine. But not so good that I was like, I got to get back in to know what happens. So I was just like, nah.
Yeah, the story fell flat from the beginning to me, and the dialogue fell flatter. So
rough. It's rough. Yeah,
I've had a really hard time getting into RPGs in the past like 10 years, just because the dialogue just has not been hitting for me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to let a lot more slide when I was younger, and I can't now. So
you're not respecting me. You're not respecting my intelligence with this. Yeah,
or my
I think
time.
there was a recent. I think Jason Schreier wrote a big piece about the Veilguard and like kind of what went wrong. And what's kind of crazy is that game was designed. It got restructured and redesigned so many times. It was originally supposed to be like multiplayer, which makes a lot of sense when you think about how that game works. But then they brought it back to just single player, and then they just had to change so much about that game. And then they also rewrote a lot of the dialogue too. The dialogue was even more snarky and like Guardians of the Galaxy like cringe, and then they toned it down majorly, and like it still is like that. And it's like, oh, yeah, all right, you guys did pretty good for what you had. So anyways, that was Veilguard. But I figured it'd be fun to talk about Mario Kart World a little bit more. We've already said a little bit about it, but in my mind, like this, off the top, I wanted to just say that Mario Kart World, I think this is like the best Mario Kart's ever been. Only from like a realization, like what it fully is. It is a kart racer that is chaotic. There is a ton to do and see, which is a lot of fun. The worlds are so well realized, even in free roam or even just in races. It's just fun to see things that you're passing and thinking, like what's over there? And now like the fact that you can do that's kind of it's awesome. They put so much thought into just where you are, what kind of Nintendo characters or Mario characters would be in that area at that time. And they all have little like schedules they're on, and there's just little funny things that happen as you're traversing around the world. But I've had a lot of fun with it. I think it is a kart racer that people will revisit over and over again. And the only place that I think it is lacking, like I still think that has some DLC potential, and I know we're getting DLC, would be the free roam stuff and just more levels.
It definitely has some DLC potential. Single player content is, what it always has been. I think the single player content just kind of shines with the Grand Prix, but man, popping on multiplayer with you and Mark and Billy a couple times,
so fun.
And the stupid little cameras, that is just hilarious and a really fun touch. Like I've had a lot of fun with that, and just as many times as I played Mario Kart in my life, there are very few times where I've been playing with 4 people who are about my same skill level. So that was really fun. All
Yes.
4 of us, I mean, we're like
We're all pretty dang good.
all getting first place every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
all kind of right there. Every time we played like a 4 race set, different people were in the leaderboard and different people were shuffling around. Billy won the most, there's no question. But
Yeah, Billy's a beast.
I think you and me and Mark were right on his tail most of the time. So that was really fun. And yeah, it's just silly. It's funny. This like cruising Mario Kart World feels like cruising through a theme park almost. Like
Yes. That's a perfect comparison.
that's my biggest takeaway from the game's world. I like playing Mario Kart games the first time I run through on 50cc. I know a lot of people just scoff at that.
I do the same thing.
I like to slowly roll through the courses and like see everything, look at all
Learn
the
them
turns,
a little
look at
bit.
all the different routes and stuff. I love that you can play on 50cc and like take 5 wrong direction turns and still win
Still get
because
first
it's
place.
so easy.
Yeah.
But I told you guys in the chat, like the new way to play Mario Kart for me is like put it on 50cc. Me and my son play co-op. He's 5. And my goal is to not get first place, but to get him first place. So he'll be in 17th and I'll get in 16th and I'll just clear out a path for him. And then, he's in 9th and I fall back to 9th and I clear out a path for him. And then he'll get in like, first place. And I just ride right on his tail and I'm shielding him, it's
We'll
so
shake
much
and
fun.
bake.
And that's actually like probably just as hard as winning 150cc first place,
Yeah,
3 stars,
dude.
is
That
getting him
sounds
first
so
place.
hard.
But it's actually really fun. And we're cheering and yelling the whole time. So I've had a lot of fun with Mario Kart World.
Me too.
Great game.
Is he playing motion controls?
No, I don't think
Okay.
I've even mentioned that to him. We should try that. No.
So we
We don't
bought the
have a
little
wheel.
We bought the wheels. We bought the little wheels, and they're like I think $20 for 2 wheels. A little pricey for what they are, but they do.
Yeah, geez.
They're great for the kids like that at that age. And my family was in town this past weekend, and my dad, he hasn't played Mario Kart in forever, but we were just kind of messing around with Henry or my son at night playing, and my dad like loved it. He was so locked in. He's like, I think I need to buy one of these just so we can play Mario Kart. He's like, or if I don't, he's like, if I don't buy one, you got to bring this next time we have a family holiday. And I was like, I'll do it. Because yeah, I mean,
That's awesome.
I didn't tell him this, Dad. If you're listening, I'm sorry. Sorry. I left on the smart steering for him so he wouldn't go off the course.
Oh man.
So
Nice.
he was turning his wheel like driving, and he was
Well,
having-
hey, that's like automatically on now when you turn the game on. So
Yeah.
that's just the way they want you to play.
and for him just kind of getting back into it, like I'm sure it was fine, but it was yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I think Knockout Tour is a lot of fun. I have to kind of give it some more time. I think that's like the online mode to play. And then I think with your friends, it's whatever. I haven't even touched the versus stuff really, like battle mode or coin runners or whatever. So
Yeah, I played a couple rounds. My favorite thing that I'm doing right now, and honestly, the most fun I've had single player is time trials. Racing the ghosts they have pre-uploaded, they're just like the perfect level of difficulty. Like each one I've raced so far, I've had to race like 3 or 4 times, but it teaches you really cool routes that I didn't know existed before. Watching the ghost in front of you, like where they use the boost, is really helpful, and it shows it's taught me more about the course layouts and given me more respect for the 3 that I've done so far. So
they're doing like all kinds of flips and Tony Hawk grinds on stuff, and they're like, I didn't even know you could do that. Like
honestly,
all these
dude, yeah, it's wild.
all these videos I'm seeing now of like people like optimizing their runs. Like really the trick is you can wall ride anything.
Yeah,
You can just wall ride anything you want. Just freaking do it. You're like, okay, try it out.
yeah, but it's hard to wall ride, and it's really hard to jump. I really wish. My biggest complaint of the game, and I know that they started off with just the jump button, and then decided that was ruining gameplay somehow. Like the balancing was just off. But man, do I just want to be able to jump.
Yep.
I know you can charge jump, but a really annoying decision. Nintendo does this all the time. Like sometimes they'll just have like the run button is the same as the jump button or something on a Mario, and it's like, Dude, can you please not put the sliding button and the jump button on the same trigger? That is absolutely ludicrous. And if they had done it somewhere else, then I could remap it somewhere to make it more comfortable. But no.
Yeah, it almost feels. Yeah, and the fact that you have to be going, like you can't be drifting at all to be able to like sort of set up the jump. You have to be going straight, then jump and hold it down. Like it's awkward, and it still feels awkward to me. I might get used to it eventually, but like it's just not the most intuitive feeling, I guess.
True.
So, but yeah, I don't know if I even want to score it right now, but like to your point, I think you said like 9 or 10. Like that's kind of where I am right now too. And I think Bonanza.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I could land in a 9. I think I'd probably stay there.
It's not perfect. It's got room to grow, but it's.
I actually don't like knockout mode very much personally. I know everybody's just raving about it, but like, and I'm not gonna dock it against, knockout mode, but I guess kind of because like, I feel like knockout mode is the reason that Mario Kart World has an interconnected map.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a fun. I think a lot of reviewers had an opportunity to play with a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And when we played the 4 and 1 thing, that was really fun because 3 of us made it to that final little area.
Yeah.
And that was cool. But I most of it I played by myself, and I find myself enjoying it, but I don't think the courses are as fun as the Grand Prix courses, and that's really my biggest hang up with it now, because I've never really been frustrated by getting knocked out early or anything. I'm just simply annoyed that the courses aren't as fun.
Yeah, you're spending most of the time on the straightaways. You're not even really on the courses, which are the best tracks, I guess. Like it is fun going on the straightaways and like seeing again part of the world, but that's more something I'd rather be doing just leisurely as opposed to just driving. And it's like, all right, we're on the road again, and there's cars I have to look out for, and not much else, or cows.
Yeah.
So
interesting thing though, because of that, I've been using a lot more speed builds.
Same.
And I used to be all acceleration. So
Same.
I'm
I've
like
been testing out
middle
speed
heavy
builds.
characters with more speed than acceleration.
Yep.
So
Same boat. And that's definitely if you're playing knockout, that seems to be the best build to go for. If you're playing a traditional race, you can kind of get away with both, I guess. But yeah, I figured.
I'll never forget your shy guy. It still haunts me from Mario Kart 8. I don't think I ever beat you on that. You had that game mastered.
Played a lot of. I mean, we all played a lot of Mario Kart 8. But I really fell off near the end there. Like even like when the new maps came out, I don't think I even played all the new maps on Mario Kart 8. I was just kind of like, I was like, I'm done with this game, because like when the DLC came out for those, I was just like, man, I want a new Mario Kart. I don't want more maps. Like it all feels the same. So this is definitely delivering on that. Like it feels much different, and it just feels good, fun.
Well, if you missed the maps for the DLC, you missed about 4 great maps, and everything else was okay.
Played some, I played like I don't even know. I'm not even trying to remember what they were. I'll look.
I can't remember the bathtub one, but the bathtub one was really good.
Okay, bathtub. There you go.
Yeah,
bring it back.
You go through a toilet, you go down the drain of the bathtub. That was like bathtub sprint or something. That was like one of my favorite courses.
Okay, I'll check it out. So yeah, next game that we can talk about on the podcast, I figured could be just DK Bonanza. We'll have.
Yeah, heck yeah, it'll be 2 months from now. And
we'll be recording in August, and I think we'll have enough, at least time, to kind of talk about it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Are you a Mario Party guy at all?
Oh yeah. Well, I can't call myself a Mario Party guy, but I'm assuming you're asking if I'm going to get that Jamboree expansion, and I am. Yes.
Correct. Okay. Cool. I've loved Jamboree, so I'll be playing both of those. But
we definitely
maybe we can touch in on Jamboree as well.
I want to play that a lot. Yeah. So let's make sure we link up and make sure we get some of the guys in on that too. That'd be so fun. Yeah, this is the other fun thing about the Switch too. That like this is just a side tangent, but like already we have our Game Boys chat that we've been in for a while now. Like we haven't been the best about linking up to actually play anything together. We just talk about games a lot. And like Mario Kart and just the Switch 2 have brought about this like resurgence of being like, hey, who wants to play Mario Kart like sometime this week, or let's all plan to do that. And I'm like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah, Matt's trying to get us in tomorrow. I need to text back because I'm definitely down.
The game chat, the cameras, man. I think we need. It's worth mentioning. Like it really like elevates Mario Kart World, and I just hope all the new Switch 2 games incorporate something silly like that, where your face is in the game somehow. It's so funny.
I watched a couple of YouTube reviews of the camera, and they're like, "This is like the worst camera ever." It's kind of like, I mean, that's the initial impression, right? Because that was the initial impression I had. I think you had as well. And then you get in and play it, and you're like, "This is actually hilarious. Like, this is just funny." Care. Watching your friend's face spin around in a circle at a very low pixelated rate is truly funny. And you make some great funny faces, but just like watching that, I was driving around, I was like, "Oh man, I really want to hit him with a shell."
And it's like, and again, our focused faces are also hilarious too. Like we're so locked in, and it's just it's funny, man.
So great.
Good job, Nintendo. Innovating again. All right. Well, let's jump over then to our last segment, Skill Tree Trivia. Let's see how this goes. So, this is Skill Tree Trivia, where we drop clues about a game character, ability, or item, starting vague and getting clearer. Guess early to score big. So the hints go like this. We got vague hint. If you get on the first hint, 7 points. If you get it on medium, you get 5 points. And if you get it on the obvious one, you get 3 points. So I'll go first, Landry.
Yeah.
So we can kind of see how this goes. And if I botch it, then you'll learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
So Landry, you're starting out. Here is your first vague clue.
Okay.
This tool helps you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be.
That is so much more vague than my particular clue, but I'm going to have to go with the hook shot.
You got it.
Nice.
That is correct. Ding, 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 ding.
Incredible.
Yeah. 7 points.
I mean, that's got to be the one video game item that I really genuinely wish that I just had.
Me too.
That would be amazing.
So sick.
Dude.
Yeah,
I'd always be looking for a target to attach to, but
yeah, you got that so well. So the level 2 was it fires a chain to latch onto distant objects, pulling you toward them or bringing those objects closer.
What is level 1? That's too easy.
A classic item in Zelda that lets Link grapple across gaps and pull in enemies or items.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if your vague clue can. Yours was really vague. I'll give it that. It's just I'm a nut for that particular series. Yeah, I really like hook shots. I'm a big hook shot guy.
Big hook shot guy.
All right. Your vague clue. This mischievous figure hides behind a mask and turns a festive relic into a force of chaos.
Hides behind a mask and turns a what was it? A festive relic into a
festive relic into a force of chaos.
Masks. I mean, I'm immediately thinking of like Majora's Mask. And this is this supposed to be a game character? Or are you not going to tell me that?
I didn't tell you because you didn't tell me.
Okay, don't tell me. Say it again, the hint one more time, sorry.
This mischievous figure hides behind a mask and turns a festive relic into a force of chaos.
Okay, I know what it is. I know the character. I just don't know his name. I forget the kid's name. Shoot, I guess if I can't guess the kid's name, then I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
Oh man,
it's the main box art kid from Majora's Mask.
Well, okay. So if you're right, what do we do?
I mean, it's.
Do you get full points for this?
Oh, I didn't guess what it is. I didn't guess his name. I don't know. If I can't guess the thing's name, then that's a problem. Maybe
I'll try and give you some hints. Let me see.
It's like some Skull Kid. No.
Yep, you nailed it.
Okay, it's what?
Skull Kid.
Okay, it is Skull Kid. Okay,
I was gonna try and get you there. You got halfway there with Kid.
Something kid, some kind of kid. He's a kid. He's got a skull. I don't know. Dude.
Dwells of the forest.
Okay, nice. What was your second hint?
My second hint was After stealing a powerful artifact, he curses a hero and sets the moon on a collision course.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So you would have known what it was then. Easy.
Yeah.
And then number 1 was wearing Majora's Mask. This forest dweller is the main antagonist, The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. So
okay.
We're walking you right up to it.
Game, name, what's happening. It's like you just got to guess who he is at this point. All right. Dude, look at us. We aced it. We aced our first series of skill tree trivia.
And we both went for Legend of Zelda. That makes a lot of sense. If we were both worried, we would have done the same thing. So.
Yeah, I was actually worried you would have picked the hook shot. I was like, oh, we're picking the same thing.
It was game characters and items, right? Did I read that right?
Game characters, abilities, or items.
Okay, cool.
Like, so you could do like Samus's morph ball. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Or the spin jump.
Spin jump, rocket boost, rocket, phaser beam, charge beam. Mega Man has a whole arsenal. He has like 1,000 items at this point.
I queued one up for Mega Man. Like that was going to be my first one. Let me read you the clue that I had going for that. It was, this blue-suited hero has been adapting to challenges since the 8-bit era.
So it's just Mega Man.
Yeah.
That's too easy.
Yeah, that was really easy.
This blue-suited
That's why I
hero.
said, I was like, oh no, this is super easy. I gotta reroute. I need to go for a little more obscure character.
Make it a little bit harder to guess the vague one. Yeah, and for full context, for those listening, I used ChatGPT to kind of give the hints for myself because I'm too lazy.
Yeah, same. I can't come up with vague hints like that.
This game is brought to you by ChatGPT. Subscribe now. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll get better at. We could easily do multiple rounds per podcast. So we'll work that out for future episodes. But
I'm excited. That's fun.
It is. I like trivia. I know you do too. Well, unfortunately, go ahead.
Nothing. I was gonna say I'm like a C tier team member on a trivia squad. Like I'm going to be beneficial at some point. I'll come in clutch during like the movie and literature categories.
Yes.
But there are just like a lot of things like current event news.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrible at that, man.
I have huge holes in my knowledge too. Like even like history stuff. I'm just like, ooh.
I'm okay with history. It just depends on
what period, what era.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How recent. Really good at like history, like 10 years ago. Lived history.
Yeah, great. Right up until about 1992.
I'm so good at that history. All right. Well, unfortunately, all of that is the end of our podcast. Listeners, what'd you think of the new outline? What'd you think of Skill Tree Trivia? How are you enjoying Mario Kart World? What do you think of nostalgia? Is it something that you also attribute to a game's value too much? Let us know by writing into bitcast@bitbloggers.com. Landry, as always, thank you for your time. Anything you want to plug or shout out on the podcast? I think there might be some things.
Yeah, I have a new podcast I've been working on. Me and my buddy Tab have been putting it together. It's called Blast to the Past, and it is on every podcast network you can imagine, or at least that I could imagine. And it's about movies, retro movies, really just the movies that a couple of millennial guys, we kind of dictated some of the movies that were most important to like our generation, just kind of what, real culture stoppers. We talk about those and whether or not they hold up, and some of them do not. And some of them hold up quite well and maybe even better than we thought. So
is this where the nostalgia stuff stemmed from also? You're like, wow, I had nostalgia for
probably,
this movie.
Dude. I've been like steeped in it for a long time because we filmed all those podcast episodes since January. So we filmed all of them, and now we're just releasing them every week, one a week. So they're all in the bank now.
Oh, you're weekly. You did 52?
No, gosh, no. I did 10. This is kind of like a trial thing. So we did 10. And when by trial, I mean we're definitely going to do season 2. We're liking what we're seeing so far, but
heck yeah.
Yeah, we might take it in a slightly different direction for season 2.
I love that. Yeah, check it out. Blast to the Past on any podcast service. Correct?
Yep, we just did Jurassic Park and Karate Kid, so if those are some movies that you like, then hop on board.
Heck yeah. All right, and for me, I don't have much else. This is it. This is what I do on the internet now. So same thing as always. Just a Bitblogist, or just search Bitcast really anywhere, and you'll find some stuff about video games and this podcast in particular. So until next time, y'all. This has been Bitcast. Thanks for tuning in to talk about some stuff.